This is a demonstration of Weld Feature in add-in for SolidWorks. The purpose of this application is to provide an efficient method for creating welds for design and simulation. To insert weld features, you can go to the Insert tab, go down to the bottom here, Weld Features, and you have a list of 18 features that you can use. 16 of those 18 are unique. I won't be going over all of them, just a few to give you an idea of what the application's capabilities are. So I'm going to insert a fillet weld here. So you can see I have quite a few options for configuring this feature. For the path, I'm going to select this as my first face. This is my second, so I'm going to be bonding this extrude here to this base. And I'm going to be using an edge path. Most features are going to allow you to use edge or sketch paths. Some of them will be primarily sketch paths. I'm going to specify this vertex as my point, and I'm going to want it to go all around the extrude. So I'm going to check this tangent propagation box. So some of these fields are just for documentation purposes: weld all around, field weld, staggered, specification. Maybe we want to specify what the filler material is. So I'm just going to put that here, and maybe I'm going to indicate what size I want to use, and perhaps the process. So we can go down here, can change the size of the profile segments. I'm just going to make it a 1/16 of an inch for the first and second leg. Effective throat is for documentation purposes only for fillet weld. You can see I have some fields if I wanted to use intermittent welds. However, since this is an all-around, we're not going to be using these or configuring them. I can deplete part of the fillet weld's face, or I can add more material. That's face reinforcement, face depletion. They're not going to be used unless I specify the contour, so we could perhaps specify, okay, if I want to deplete some, specify concave, and with the acceptable value, maybe we could put, I don't know, 0.0125. And there's some other elements for documentation as well. If I go up here, hit click OK, so it'll generate that feature for me. You can see it went all the way around, and it's slightly concave as a result. Let's go to another one. Let's go to this this path here. We could do a surfacing weld. That would just be some weld material that's been deposited on top of this base. So I need to select the coincident face, and you can see there's a profile sketch path here. I can't select the path start point because this is a closed path, so it's irrelevant where the points lie. Some of these values aren't going to be used because it's not an intermittent weld, it's closed. I'm just going to use these as my default. See, that feature is created. If I want to use the intermittent parameters, can try editing this one. Let's change the length. Let's go 0.5. And let's do 1.5 for this. We can increase that to 2. So we should get 2 segments. Whenever you select a sketch path for intermittent welds, it needs to contain a single line that's non-construction geometry. Of course, you can have construction geometry in that sketch. It just needs to contain one line that isn't. And it obviously can't be fully defined either, because the length that you enter in here is going to alter the length of that segment. So if I click OK, edit it, and it'll change that for me, and it'll create 2 extrudes. All right, there they are. So there are some features that cut bodies as well. So there is a limitation in the SolidWorks modeler that prevents proper cuts from being made on regen. So the weld features that are intended to be used with cuts will only create the profiles for you. They aren't going to cut the bodies. Unfortunately, we can't do that right now. Perhaps in the future we can push out an update to make that happen. But here I'm going to add a J-groove weld. And what I'm going to do is let's see, we can hide this one. Hide that body. So the body, or I should say the edge that you use for a lot of these groove welds is going to dictate which side of the joint is going to be primarily cut. Now there are some features that are going to be cutting both sides, like the U-groove, but if you have like a root opening, for instance, here, it's going to occur on the side that you select, right? So if I select this side, this edge on this side, this is going to have the root opening cut out of it, as well as the chamfer. So I'm going to insert a J-groove here, J-groove weld. There are some options. You can use both profiles, like you can see in that U-groove weld. We were using both profiles there. You can of course do single as well. I'm going to use this edge and this vertex as my start. I think we're going to just go with 0.6. You can see there's quite a few options here. I think these are all profile driving. There's no documentation elements in here. I guess we can just have it be complete joint penetration, be all through the joint. Let's see, what else do we got? So some options here. I got convex I can use. So some of the options won't be available if you've specified other options. So for instance, this effective throat is at the max of 0.125 because that's my joint depth. Now I can't have a concave profile because the effective throat takes up all that depth. So there can't be a concave selection here. So if I did want to have a concave profile, I'd have to decrease this to, let's say, I don't know, 0.65, anything less than the joint depth. And when I do that, now I can add a concave option here. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use complete joint penetration. So we're just going to have the convex option. And there's a few others, of course. But yeah, I think that looks fine. Just going to click OK. It's going to create the profiles for me. However, again, it's not going to cut, so I'm going to have to add those features myself. So I'm going to add a sweep. So that's my boss profile I created. This is my cut profile. And if I want to add the boss as well, it's unfortunate that we have to do that extra step, but that's just what's necessary right now. Let's see, go through some of these other ones. So there are a couple features that require you to use sketches to ensure that there's not ambiguity in which side to use to create the weld. So this flare bevel doesn't have an edge on this cylindrical face, so you need to select this segment here. Let's see, which one is this? So this profile path got selected, and you can see I selected the cylindrical face, the root face, I guess we can change some things. We can make the effective throw a little bit larger. That almost got to the root. But same type of thing for flare V. In the case where there's no edges to pull from, going to have to specify either the top or the bottom in this case with a sketch line, or a sketch if it's not intermittent. Could be continuous as well with curves. It needs to dictate the side. So there is another feature of this application that allows you to import data from Weld Features into welding symbols. So let's just use this fillet weld, for instance. If I want to insert a welding symbol here, go down to weld symbol, and I'm just going to attach it to this. Oh, that's weird. This must be an old one. If I want to import that data, let's see, just need to make sure I select the feature in the feature tree, and the weld symbol. I can right click on the weld symbol and go down to import weld feature data. And I can choose from this side as arrow side or from this side as other side. This would place it on the bottom and top respectively. So you can see it imported all that data for me. Now some things it can't import due to the API limitations. For instance, the finishing method can't be imported. But we can import some of the data for you to create those welding symbols a bit quicker. All right, I think that's a good stopping point. Thanks for watching.